Hello everyone, I'm Xinpei Tian. I'm with the cool sunglasses for shy person. So today I'm coming to you from Film Books, a cozy feminist bookstore in Taipei. I'm here for a project on gender, sexualities, and human rights. And honestly, what better place to reflect on these ideas? Before we explore the bookstore, I want to share some key concepts from class. Don't worry, I'll keep it light like we're just chatting. First, Judith Butler's gender performativity. Butler argues gender isn't something we were born with. It's something we do. Society hands us a script like girls should be gentle, boys should be strong, and we perform it again and again until it feels natural. But if gender is a performance, that means we can change it, play with it, and express ourselves freely. Human rights then include the freedom to express gender without punishment or shame. Next, Michel Foucault's power and knowledge. Foucault showed how what we call truth about sex or gender is shaped by those in power. Institutions like law, medicine, or religion tell us what's normal or deviant, and those ideas shape how we understand ourselves. Sexuality isn't just a private matter. It's shaped by social discourse. Fighting for human rights means challenging these power-based norms and making space for diverse experiences. Third, Gail Rubin's sexual politics. Rubin explained how societies turn biological differences into rigid social systems. A sex-gender system that ranks people, often prevailing in men and heterosexuality. She introduced the idea of the charmed circle, acceptable sexual behaviors inside the circle, stigmatized the ones outside. For human rights, this means pushing back against the social rules that marginalize those outside the circle, ensuring everyone can live with respect and dignity. Okay, now we've got three big ideals. Gender is performed, sexuality is socially constructed by power, and society's sex-gender rules can be fought and changed. Now, let's see how all of this theory and concepts lives and breathes in film books itself. Walking up to film books, you might not immediately get the history inside. It's tucked away in a quiet alley near National Taiwan University, with a modest sign, three elegant Chinese characters 女书店, meaning women's bookstore. Fun fact, that calligraphy was done by a famous artist, symbolizing how art and activism merge here. Film Books opened in 1994 as the first feminist bookstore in the Chinese-speaking world. Imagine the bravery that took. Taiwan had just lifted decades of martial law, and a group of women's rights activists seized the chance to create a safe cultural space for feminist and LGBTQI+ ideas. One founder, Wu Che-li, said they wanted to promote the women's movement by cultural impacts. In other words, use books to change minds. Over the years, this little bookstore has helped drive big social changes, including Taiwan's path to becoming the first Asian country to legalize same-sex marriage in 2019. Inside, the space is bright, cozy, and inviting. Green walls, art and calligraphy, and shelves packed with books by and about women. There are rainbow stickers, small pride flags, and displays celebrating women's and LGBTQI+ stories. It's not just a shop, it's a community hub, a space where decades of feminist and queer activism are literally documented on the walls. You will see flares from past pride marches, feminist meetups, and even 1990s protests demanding legal reforms. The book selection follows a clear principle: by women, about women, and for women. Though nowadays it's inclusive of all genders, there's an entire section on gender studies and queer theory, with classics like Judith Butler's Gender Trouble, may show focused history of sexuality and local works on Taiwan's gender equality movement. You really feel how the theoretical ideas we discuss in class, like Butler's gender performativity or focused power or knowledge, are part of living conversations here. Decades ago, you couldn't easily find books on LGBTQI+ topics or women's liberation in a mainstream bookstore. They were considered fringe or even taboo. But film books changed that. Building the most comprehensive collection of feminist and queer materials in the Chinese-speaking world. For a young person feeling alone, walking in and seeing their identity reflected on the shelf could be life-changing. Little details reinforce the store's mission, a stock of things from local feminist groups. Pamphlets from the Awakening Foundation on Domestic Violence, and a bulletin board covered with photos, notes, and even posters. I imagine how many books club meetings, public talks, and spontaneous conversations have unfolded here over the years. The atmosphere is gentle, welcoming, and curious. You can browse for hours or join a lively debate about anything from reproductive rights to the latest Netflix show with non-binary characters. Filmbooks hasn't had an easy road. In 2017, it almost closed due to the financial struggles, but the community rallied. Readers, writers, and professors raised funds to keep it going. That tells you how much this place matters. One professor even called it a key player in the fights for gender and marriage equality. In Taiwan today, Filmbooks has reinvented itself, continuing as a bookstore, aiding publishing projects, growing its online presence, and hosting more events. As I wander through the space, I can't help but think back to the series we've studied. Butler's idea of diverse gender performances, I see it here in books about trans experiences, tomboy stories, and non-binary memories. Foucault's point about power and knowledge is alive on these shelves. Knowledge once pushed to the margins is now shared openly, reshaping cultural power. Rubin's analysis of the charmed circle of acceptable sexualities. Filmbooks expand that circle, offering respectful, thoughtful resources on topics like BDSM, sex work, and queer relationships, once heavily stigmatized. What really hits me is that human rights progress isn't just about big legal victories. It's about places like this, where people gather, learn, and lift each other up. Filmbooks reminds me that cultural spaces matter deeply. They make room for expression, exploration, and change. As I prepare to leave, I glance back at the purple scene and the cozy interior. I feel grateful for the freedom to be here to talk about these topics and for spaces like Filmbooks that help build a more understanding equal world. Thank you for walking through this bookstore with me. I am very lucky to have the opportunity to visit and film the Taipei Filmbooks. The video recording has been approved by the official staff of the Filmbooks, and the filming fee has been paid. The video content focuses on the Filmbooks space itself and does not involve any interviews or use of any individual's portrait. There is a large poster of Virginia Woolf in the women's bookstore. She was the first to propose that women should have their own room. Now there is a whole bookstore here for all the fragile, confused, or determined and brave people.